Oh boy, time now for another exciting episode of Mr Nailsin Sunday. No, not Sunday. You idiot. It's Wednesday. You get the deal. It's Wednesday comics. Yeah. Well, I got mostly nothing. Well, not nothing. I got something old. So it's Batman Strange Apparitions. And so I will get into this. This is a particular tome that's apparently no longer in print. I It took a while to get it. I had to put it on the want list at mycomicshop.com, and eventually it came up. And a couple of times I missed it. I was checking eBay and stuff, but had that avenue open too. And then finally, I caught it. You got to be, you just got to be in your email at the moment it comes up. And then it did, and I got it. And so there we go. I read some of the issues over at DC Infinite Universe. I don't think they have all of them there, though. So, I mean, these one of these days I'm probably going to cancel the subscription, because I mean I hardly every now and then it comes in handy. You like to have something to read on the phone, and that's one of them. I could look at news articles a lot, and that's mostly what I do, but geez, how depressing is that? So anyway, that's another problem. Here is a it's basically a defining set of stories that came out in the 70s with Batman. And of course, most people know the story after they blame it on Adam West, but a lot of Batman from the 50s on, had these weird kind of silly comical stories and stuff like that. And so the Batman show, if it was influenced by anything of the comics, it was that. The initial origin of the Batman show was a party at the Playboy Mansion. Well, these guys, they got together and decided, hey, it'd be fun to watch one of those old movie serials. And the movie serial they watched, and there was two of them, I forget which, was Batman. And they all had fun laughing at it and making, like Mystery Science Theater and stuff. But a couple of the guys there were the producers that would go on to make the show. They thought, there might be something here. And sure enough, they did the Batman show with Adam West and all that. And for a while, it was a big hit. And but that really cemented a certain image of Batman, and certainly the whole concept of superheroes and whatnot. They were pretty spot on when you think about it. Yeah, but there was an earlier version of Batman as this, crime fighting pulp like character type thing, which is still fantastical, but nevertheless a bit more grounded and whatnot. And by the time the 50s, and, Red Scare and all that, they changed it more to be, happier, happier take on the superheroes, because even Superman was toned down from some of there was violence in his comic too. It was, you don't think of it, it wasn't gratuitous or in your face type of artwork you would see later, but you're wrapping gun barrels around guys' faces. Some of them would just die in whatever attack that he did, and it's like, well, sucks to be you, stuff like that. But and of course, Batman carried a gun for some time, and then he landed on some guy's neck and broke it. Don't worry, he was evil, so stuff like that. But it's not the violence; it's the meaner tone to it, and the seriousness, and the nature of being a very dark a detective series. Just in this albeit ridiculous outfit, but you once you go with the mood, it's good. So Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams, of course, went a long way to sort of restore Batman to this serious adventure detective series. But even that approach kind of waned, and then here came the series of books that set a template that holds to this very day. So you've got Steve Englehart and Lynn Wein working on this, Marshall Rogers and Walt Simonson artists. and so on. And it does quite, it's sort of a, you know, a reboot of sorts, I suppose, in a lot of way of establishing a lot of things. Um, at the time, the handful of Batman comics that I had when I was a kid, a lot of the characters established here and stuff was still playing out, because some of the I don't think I had any. I'm sure I did, but I, you know, didn't take care of it and lost it. But in the 80s, had quite a few comics. The collection would grow at that point. But some of the Batman comics, it was still dealing with the likes of Rupert Thorne and all that sort of thing. Uh, but it here is it you get a new villain in the form of Dr. Phosphorus, who comes into being here. And of course, he was recently featured in Creature Commandos of James Gunn's cartoon and all that. And looking back, Creature Commandos is probably his best effort so far. Yeah, it's problems, but you know, compared to Peacemaker, well, anyway, this is where he began. And then, of course, you get into classic villains, most notably the Joker makes his return in here. And also the Joker fish story takes place in here, later to be adapted in the Batman animated series story and that sort of thing. So just how nutty, but also just how brutal and dangerous a man he is. But it's also has several nods to his original incarnation from the old stories in the 40s. But he was just basically this murderer who extorted people with the threat of murder, and of course would use his poison that leaves the victims with a, you know, the grin on their face, which was, you know, quite a horrible calling card. But nevertheless, yeah, this, if you know the story, you know what who he's meeting with here and what's going to happen and all that. Another old, mostly forgotten villain at this time was Dr. Hugo Strange, who went on to be one of the few who discovered Batman's secret identity. And he does this in this plot he's got in this psychiatric ward that he's using to screw with other people. But he was more of a mad scientist type character here. Since then, maybe that I have to go back and reread the classic story, but that he was always a psychiatrist. But of course, he uses those skills against you know, Batman and stuff like that. But he made, you know, people into monsters and whatnot, and he's still doing that here. He's got some of that going on, but he's also doing yet another racket extortion ring here on the wealthy and whatnot, and targets Bruce Wayne. And well, lo and behold, he finds out who Batman is. Later on in the 90s, they did this Legends of the Dark Knight series with, and it's really excellent. And they do it. It's almost kind of a redo of how, and of course it was, by then they had rebooted the line of comics and all that sort of thing. But that Hugo goes after Batman and discovers his secret identity, and so on and so forth. And it's a battle of psyches, but also the downfall of Hugo is that he's crazier than anyone else. And eventually, and of course, all kinds of weird, creepy things about him come to the forefront. But due to this story in later years, that personality and that character of him develops, and it begins really right here. And hence the story, because after this, he decides, hey, I found out who Batman is, and I'm going to sell it to all the top villains and whatnot. And he makes this attempt, but he's stopped and thwarted, and so seemingly dies by but this involves Rupert Thorne. And then he seemingly haunts Rupert Thorne after this. And the series in and of itself, there you can see he's having visions of his ghost and everything, doesn't quite explain. Rupert Thorne's not a crazy man, and he's certainly not given to a guilty conscience. So why would he have obsessions with Hugo Strange? And later on it gets explained, but this is clearly established here about that, and it also leads to where it does sort of, I don't, suddenly Rupert Thorne had hair dye, I don't know. Then it goes back to being white. But he does go on the deep end a time or two later on in other stories, not to the Joker level. The other returning villain was Deadshot, but this is the first appearance of him and the look and style that he's more known for since. It shows here the back story in the old days where he's, you know, the guy in the top hat and all that. But here he shows up in his more, you know, DC Comics supervillain attire to deal with Batman there. And then the Penguin comes in. There's Hugo Strange again, you know, also makes an appearance, so on and so forth. And this was one of the, besides the attempt of, well, not attempt, I think they were successful, of Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams of restoring Batman to his Dark Knight roots and all that. But here it goes to great lengths of doing the same. And it ends on a really disturbing, creepy story of the third version of Clayface. And it's ultimately this tragic, very sad, but creepy, monstrous story of this man who tries to utilize the abilities of Clayface to make himself handsome. Well, you can see it didn't really work out. So there's been several Clayfaces, and this is the third one. He makes his debut here. And it's sort of interesting because all through the story, Batman has a new romance in the character of Silver St. Cloud. And it's very serious, and not just Hugo Strange. She also determines who Batman is. I mean, you would think more people would. I mean, only half of his face is covered. And who has the money to do all this? So anyway, that unfolds, and it's this, but it's a more of an in-depth an approach to a serious relationship romance for Batman, Bruce Wayne. And it, well, doesn't end well, we'll put it that way. And so it's kind of where it ends in this tragic, sad, monstrous tale, and what Batman is going through at the end of the story. And then it just ends on this sort of sad, quiet note for it. I don't know. I mean, at the time, you never quite know what they intended, and maybe they would have followed up on this a lot sooner. But other people took up the baton in later issues. You had this annual where, what's the deal with Doctor Strange? Well, they're not going to kill him off. So, of course, was he dead? Spoiler: no, he was not. And you had these other stories of him coming back. Here, his obsession with Batman only increases and grows, in which he wants to be Batman, another trope that appears later in the Legends of the Dark Knight series. There he is, dressed up in Batman's suit. Gonna have to throw that suit out, you know. And so Batman and Robin deal with him, and so on. He even shaves. He finally figures out, hey, if I'm going to pass for Batman, I got to shave the beard. So he does that. But it's a little too far-fetched about what he would be capable to do here to set Batman up. Yeah, later on they do. I would have to say that Legends of the Dark Knight does a more believable take on it, and so on. But ultimately, it answers, the stories do answer about what he did with Rupert Thorne and all that. Here he attacks Batman yet again, and but of course he fails. So, and then they have to wrap it up. Hey, wait a minute, he knows who you really are. Well, they have Batman has a card to play on that too, using it on Doctor Strange's psyche. However, I'm not certain that really would have worked. Sure, the guy's nuts and somewhat more malleable mind at that point, despite being brilliant and all that. But he's cuckoo, and that might have worked. The other issue I found that does a follow up on would be the Clayface character, and he seemingly doesn't survive the last one, but there's no body, so he's still alive. And then Alan Moore does it in this issue of the Batman Annual 11 from the good old days. And of course, his whole life surrounds around the woman he loves. It's too bad she's just a mannequin. So we find out what happened to him, but it's all told through his mind, his perspective, and all that. So it's this, once again, this sad, pathetic bastard, this ridiculous romance that he has with a mannequin. And of course, it's Alan Moore, so it's very well done. And once again, he's causing trouble. He's killing some people, and well, Batman's got to put his gloves on and get to work. And well, I guess you can guess how that goes. The Penguin shows up too. And both stories are about it, like the cover says, villains and love. So there's a love story for Penguin too. But it's the Clayface story is the one that really follows up. Hey, what happened to him after Strange Apparitions? And so these are issues that do cover that. I may have missed. There might be a couple of others who deal with it. And of course, the story structure of Gotham City for Batman was very well established in the story now collectively called Strange Apparitions. Now, at this point, I would recommend it, but it's hard to come by. They really should reprint it. Of course, who's going to end up owning DC Comics as I am taping this in early December 2025? I don't know. And would they be interested in that? Probably not. Now, I don't know about the different omnibuses, if you find any of those that collect the Batman comics from the era. And then you probably would collect the issues that were part of this from damn, I'm already forgetting the numbers. Damn it, what an idiot. 369 to 379, I believe it runs. Well, you got it right here. Just look, stupid. Oh, there we go. There we go. So from Detective Comics, it ends Detective Comics 479, 379, and begins 469 from 1977. So there you go. Those are the issues of Detective Comics, not Batman. I'm sorry about that. I got that wrong too. I'm just making an idiot of myself. But anyway, it's a great classic run of him, and holds a significant part in Batman being taken back to his roots. And there were many other attempts, and then finally you come to Frank Miller with Year One and Dark Knight Returns and all that, all basically in the same approach of putting dark into the Dark Knight. All right. Yes. Thank you. Pre-taped Mr. Nailsin. All right. So, yeah, that was a little thing there of the Long Salt after, as I'd been trying to get the collection of Strange Apparitions, and decided, well, I didn't really have a lot of new comics that I'd done, and went ahead and do the overview. The only suggestions for getting it again is the ones I gave in the tape. So wish I could say, hey, just go over here. You can get your own copy for it. So, well, this was kind of useless, wasn't it? But it's got to be in other collections and whatnot that they sell. As the merger is underway, I don't know what becomes, because used to DC was very good at keeping a lot of stuff in print for a very long time, and so a good deal of their classic stories and whatnot, but all well into 70s and 80s and so on. And I don't know. I don't know what the future of that is at this point. And I don't know what the future would be of DC Infinite Universe, the site where they have tons of comics in digital form, but not all of them. And it would be nice if there was, because I've seen a link in articles about Strange Apparitions. When you click it, it's not there. It just gives you, it only gives you a handful of the issues that it details. And so I was like, well, if you're not going to have, at least have the collection together, which makes it easier to get to the stories. But if you're going to have them, especially those signature issues available, because they do have an awful lot, but not all. Hopefully that'll change and makes it a lot easier to peruse those stories that did go a long way in reestablishing Batman as people know him today. So the only other item would be a news story about another Marvel DC crossover, and so I'll go ahead and get to that. I did the previous one where they had the announcement for Batman and Deadpool, and well, we saw the results of that. I guess the second one, I mean, not guess, it was the better of the two. I mean, the backup stories seemed to be better in the first one, and then the main story is better in the second one. Of what, first one Deadpool Batman, second one Batman Deadpool. Get it? Yeah. So anyway, we'll take a look over here at Superman and Batman. You don't need to see me. So, we do have to see me in there. Oh, but I'm hidden under the thing. It's me. It's me. Well, whatever. All right. That's how Rumble Studio works. It's fine. It's fine. Suppose. I wonder if I just did it in OBS. Why didn't I do that? I wonder. No, that's over in Photoshop. Yeah, look at that. All right, so then I can just take me out, and there we go. Maybe just, do it that way. Does that work? I think so. But you don't need to see it like that, so that goes to the background. That, crap. Yeah, when I have it hooked up this way, I guess I'm just going to have to go with the shear part. No, you don't want to see all that. All right. We'll just have to turn that off. Gee, I really didn't prepare. It's sad, really. But what are you gonna do? Wow, it's got 2 Super Tips things up there. Wow, isn't that cool? And not really, no. All right. Okay. There you go. So, yes, Superman, Spider-Man #1 arrives March 25. So it's just another one of these crossovers they're doing. And I don't know what the sales were on the Batman Deadpool ones. But, it's a gimmick that can work, and it's to celebrate the 50th anniversary. So way back when the first one was Superman and Spider-Man in the 70s teaming up, And then they did a couple of more. After that, Batman and the Hulk and stuff like that. And then years later, they did quite a few, massive crossovers. They did the amalgam stories where they combined the characters into each other, you know, like Batman and Wolverine became Dark Claw, and Superman and Captain America became Super Soldier, etc. And that sort of thing. And then eventually you had Avengers versus Justice League. And then after that, well, they didn't like each other. And in some cases, apparently it was personal between the different editors and stuff. So it was a long time before anything like this. But now here it is. So DC Comics is set March 25th, 2026 for the release of Superman Spider-Man #1. A massive new one-shot celebrating 50 years of DC Marvel crossovers with 8 original stories and some of the biggest creators in comics. Earlier this year, DC and Marvel confirmed their crossover partnership will extend into 2026. That includes new stories and new reprints tied to the original 1976 team-up Superman versus the Amazing Spider-Man. Now, DC has revealed the creative team's story details and first look at the cover art for Superman Spider-Man #1. The oversized one-shot arrives March 25th. Yes, for $7.99. Yes, $8.99 for the cardstock variant. Fans can pre-order through their local comic shop using DC's shop locator. So anyway, I guess this is supposed to be the main cover. Besides the well, I guess the Superman's kind of okay, but Spider-Man, what the this? Yeah, his eyes are a bit wonky. Yeah. Not crazy about that. Well, the lead story involves, of course, Superman and Spider-Man versus Brainiac and Dr. Octopus. So the main story teams Mark Waid and what are you going to do? Jorge Jimenez, who send Clark Kent and Peter Parker chasing the same lead on a conspiracy involving Brainiac and Dr. Octopus. Both reporters dig too deep. The villains take notice, and the world's most iconic heroes find themselves forced into action. Waid and Jimenez, I always forget how to pronounce it. You know, is it Jimenez or Jimenez? I don't know. Headline the book with a story DC is calling an unforgettable, well, you know, centerpiece for the anniversary celebration. Well, you say, okay, maybe, you never know. So here's one of the variant covers. Well, there's no background, so that's kind of lazy, but the figurative work and poses a little, I mean, Spider-Man's in a better pose in the previous one, but that's, of course, Superboy Prime, not Superman. So, and this is Spider-Man when he wore the black suit, so it's not Venom yet. The suit probably is, but it's Peter Parker in it, because, see, he doesn't have the big mouth with the tongue and everything, which would really be, yeah. Anyway, 7 additional stories fill the issue, each pairing DC and Marvel characters in new matchups. Tom King and Jim Lee craft a Lois Lane and Mary Jane Watson team up. Yeah, Tom King's just perfect for that. Matt Fraction and Steve Lieber return to Jimmy Olsen and bring Carnage with him. Sean Murphy launches a future set story starring Superboy and Spider-Man 2099. Oh, from the Legion of, I guess they mean from the Legion of Superheroes, Superboy. So yeah, it makes, well, they're supposed to be in the 30th century, so 2099 is still not far away. But anyway, whatever. That's what they're going to do. Anyway, Gail, Simone, Balin, Ortega show what happens when Power Girl goes topless meets the Punisher. Christopher Priest and Daniel Simper explore a moment when Superboy Prime, who reads every comic, pays a visit to Spider-Man right after he gets the black suit. Oh, so that does make this significant. It will actually happen in the story. So there you go. But since that's the thing about Superboy Prime, I mean, originally it was the idea that he came from, our world. And he just happened to have the name Clark Kent, and then suddenly he gets the powers of Superman. Yeah, those were innocent times. But anyway, Christopher Priest and, I read that one. Greg Rucka and Nicola Scott stage a competition between the Daily Planet and the Daily Bugle. Wow, that sounds, yeah. Jeff Lemire and Rafa Sandoval dive deep, so deep, into the past to explore a bonding moment. What? Between Pa Kent and Uncle Ben. Is this going to involve, going out to a mountain named after a broken back? Right? DC even jokes about settling who would win in a fair fight, Pa Kent or Uncle Ben, but noting neither would actually throw a punch because it ends up, in the tent and all that. Anyway, here's another cover. There's Jim Lee's art. So probably going to be the best of the batch. So there you go. There's Spider-Man. He does that. He squats a lot. And Superman, of course, always poses. Look at me. I'm Superman. Yeah. Anyway, along with Jorge Jimenez's main cover. So that was his up there. I seem to remember him being a much more capable. That's his? I don't see the signature, but the eyesight is really bad. Okay. They should have gone. Yeah, you probably should just go with Jim Lee's. Anyway, also available as a foil variant, DC will release open-to-order cardstock variants by, all these guys. And Chrissy, there you go. There's a girl. She was in there. She did one. And I guess that's it. Oh, look. There you go. That, doesn't look like Spider-Man or Superman, does it? Now, it's Supergirl and one of the other Spider women. Silk? Yeah, I think they called her Silk. And they're, booty to booty in that. Well, anyway, the issue follows DC's 2026 Treasury Edition reprints of the original crossover, including Treasury Edition 50th Anniversary of Superman versus The Amazing Spider-Man, #1. DC and Marvel present Superman and Spider-Man Treasury Edition #1. Okay. Anyway, DC notes the full crossover celebration will continue with Marvel's Spider-Man, Superman #1 in April, and additional titles to be announced. Well, there's another variant cover. It's pretty bad. That's not very good at all. The new one-shot follows this year's crossover releases of Deadpool, Batman, Deadpool, receiving a new print run in January 28th. The second one? So the first one, which I think they split up the deal. So the Deadpool Batman is more of a Marvel thing. And yeah, they say it right here. So typical DC prints a lot more than Marvel tends to. So you can, but it is the better of the two. Both companies say more announcements are coming throughout 2025 and 2026. Well, if there's more announcements for 2025, well, then you better get on it because it's almost over. So here's another cover. It's well drawn. It's pretty good. And of course, it has the Soviet Union version of Superman from the Red Sun story, where it imagined, hey, what would have happened if Superman had crash landed in Russia, in Soviet Russia, instead of Kansas? And well, you see the result. He became a commie. For some reason here, Spider-Man has become the Hulk, and I guess if the radioactive spider had bitten some guy in communist Russia, he would have become the Hulk as well as Spider-Man. Well, they both involved, radiation and whatnot. Anyway, why are they putting out release information? It's the same day. It's March 25th. So, yeah, of course it would be the same. I don't know. Anyway, here's another one. Well, it's well rendered and all that. And, of course, the whole thing is they're both in their black suits. See, Superman had a black suit, too. It wasn't Venom, though. This was just a suit that, because of the blackness of it, I guess, helped him absorb the solar energy of the sun when he was resurrecting and all that. And, well, Spider-Man was in Secret Wars and his costume got all torn up and he thought he found this, alien machine that was like an automatic tailor and it made him a new suit. But it turned out to be a parasite. And the rest is history, of course. But anyway, there they are, back in black, Okay, here's another variant cover. It's Kingdom Come Superman. And, yeah, this isn't any good. This is... once again, the head just shrinks into this massive body. No. Nah. Okay, this one, well, okay, a little better. You've got Superman fighting the Green Goblin. Although, and now granted, the bat thing, his bat glider, probably should be about that size to do what it's supposed to do, even though it would never really work. But nevertheless, just for fun, you say it works. But it was always a lot smaller than that for him. And really has no chance whatsoever up against Superman. Meanwhile, Spider-Man's going to take on Lex Luthor. Now, Lex Luthor's in his armor, which is designed to go up against Superman. So despite having the webbing up his nose, and really, Lex, what were you thinking? You got to have a helmet, dumbass. But anyway, he might have a better chance against Spider-Man, for a bit, but Spider-Man's pretty damn strong. So ultimately he's going to lose, of course, but a better chance than the Green Goblin has against Superman. But I guess they wanted Green Goblin there because he's kind of like Spider-Man's ultimate enemy, and Lex is Superman's ultimate enemy. Plus, they both like green and purple, So, Superman and Spider-Man like red and blue. How about that, huh? Yeah. Now, this is the best cover of them all. It's, it just, I don't know, it just bursts out of the cover and towers over the others. It's really great. Except, of course, Power Girl will be in but they're going to team her up with the Punisher. When they probably should have teamed her up with Black Cat here. And, they go on an adventure, but they get stuck in the Arctic wasteland. And the only way they can survive is to strip down and share their body heat, And, something special happens. I think that would be a more compelling story. But sadly, no, Black Cat is just on the cover, I guess. And the best cover of sadly only a variant and not indicative of a story. Whereas in the story, it'll be Power Girl meets the Punisher. He's basically just Charles Bronson with a skull shirt. He shoots criminals. So he's really not going to have any chance of taking on Power Girl, especially since he'll be so very, very distracted anyway. But I guess it'll be more of a team up, and she'll say, I don't like your methods. And he's going to be, well, I forgot what I was going to say. And then that would be the story. Anyway, another variant here, another messed up pose of Spider. Yeah, that's no good. Superman again. Yeah, it's all right. But yeah. So best cover right here easily beats out the others. Of course, the more practical one for the overall series would be Jim Lee's Superman and Spider-Man. But of course, again, you just can't top all that top. You really can't. So there you go. Hopefully, this will be the cover you can find when you want to purchase your special crossover of, the Superman, Spider-Man comic book deal. Yeah. I think that's for the best. I mean, it's just my opinion. Others may disagree and whatnot, but that's fine. It's wrong, absolutely wrong, but it's fine, Yeah, that's okay. Okay. All right. Why does it do? Oh, I did it on the other thing. I guess I don't need to. There. Yeah, go away. Go away. You only need the one. That'll work. Now I got to go back and see. Oh, there's no chat at all? Oh, there it is. Okay. Well, there it goes away again. Holy crap. Wait, did I get any super tips? Did I get super tips? Did I? No, I didn't. Yeah. All right, let me go through. Hey, Thompson, how was the doctor? He was all right. I'm taking a break from Karmic. Well, a lot happened last night. I was on Pat's show and spoke with Karmic, and then I ended up going on Karmic's show for a brief moment. And then I guess went back to Pat's show with Melton and Merce there, and it had a very surreal and fascinating ending, which ultimately was rather perfect for the whole Karmic saga. It was interesting, and I needed to do other stuff, but I couldn't walk away. I had to sit there and watch this and contribute. Yeah. Oh, well, Mike Panzer, Spider-Man should have top billing. Well, it's an interesting thing. Superman, of course, is the foundation of the superhero comic book. I know all the pulp stuff that came before, but really, Superman establishes it. And for the longest time, he was the king of the superhero comic book. And then Batman surpassed him eventually. Spider-Man came along and then surpassed just about all of them. Batman can give him a run for his money here and there, but for the most part, it's really just Batman and Spider-Man. Superman, I think, deserves the respect he holds, and I think in some hands he does come through. There's some good stories with Superman, but yeah, Spider-Man is a far more popular character currently, and has been for quite a while. And Mike Panzer, you ever notice the great care given to drawing Superman's crotch? Oh, yes. It's very delicate. You have to be careful about that. Hey, Thompson, I clicked off. Did the doctor go okay? I guess he's doing all right. He seemed to be doing pretty good. Mike Panzer, everybody make your own characters. Well, it turns out I did. All right, they're just parodies. Night Knight is Batman. Sun King is Superman. I should try to do better than that. Graham Wellington, Part 9T. I need that issue. A. Thompson says, me too. Well, I can't imagine which one you're talking about. Yeah, I know. The top one. Yeah, it is. It's at the top of my list, I'll tell you that. You know, that was, that's a good one. I mean, really, none of them, all of them were pretty weak overall. And so, and then you drop that in there, and it's like, it's embarrassing to even have the others there. I'd almost feel sorry for them. I don't really. But, I said almost. That ought to count. Okay, well, speaking of comic books, your own comic books, all that stuff, here we are once again at indieplanet.com/Douglas-Nelson. There's not really a hyphen, but for the purposes of the IRL, it'll be there like that. So there you are. Look, it says Douglas Nailsin, so now you know you're there. And there's Doodleverse Comics #1. And, oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, I'll get back to that later. Etc. Woman, a one-shot done for a friend at work. Then there's Night Night. Oh, Night Night. And as the cover tells you, based on the audio series, Night Night, yes, by staggering coincidence, has the same name. That was serialized in the Mr Nailsin podcast on RadioMisfits.com or wherever you get your podcast. You could go to Radio Misfits, but you don't have to. You could just punch in the search, The Mr Nailsin Show, and it'll show up. Oh, yeah. There's Night Night #2, featuring a backup story of the early years of Night Night. Yes, he didn't always look like that. He used to look kind of like this. See? Well, not kind of. He looked like that. And then you get his early years, how it all began, and all that sort of stuff. And then #3, The Death of Night Night Part 1. Oh, no, it ends on this cliffhanger. Oh, boy. But don't worry. I've already got the artwork done. Well, not all of it. That's right. I got to wrap that one up. Sun King of #2. That artwork is done. But anyway, it follows with another backup story of Night Night's early years. Yes, that's right. Yeah. Meanwhile, Sun King, of course, the Superman parody comic, he has a backup story too. Bubba Stargone, the sci-fi adventures of Bubba Stargone. Once a simple truck driver, got abducted by aliens, and now is in a sci-fi adventure. So anyway, both stories, of course, just like Night Night, are based on audio adventures that I did all by myself. And they're featured regularly in the Mr. Nailsin Show podcast. Yes, you guessed it, on RadioMisfits.com or wherever you get your podcast. Yeah. So there you go. It's as simple as that. That's all you got to do. You click on one of these, and then it'll take you right to it. Oh, boy. Oh, there's the little synopsis. After his wife left him for a convicted felon, billionaire Playboy subscriber Lyle Richman launched a one-man war on crime. And in this issue, in battle with his archenemy, the pink elephant, Night Night seemingly meets his fate. In the backup feature, Night Night's first foray into crime fighting begins. So there you go. See, sounds exciting, doesn't it? And you got these little previews. You can see there he is chasing pink elephant through the street. He's got to try to stop him. His goons shoot at him. Oh, no, but don't worry. He's going to figure out something. But Bubo, his partner, sidekick, doesn't drive the car because he doesn't have his permit. But don't worry, he survives that. But you'll have to find out what else happens in the issue. So digital copy, 99 cents. Print, $3.99. But it can be yours oh so easily by heading over to indieplanet.com. Yes, it can. Yes. Okay. Well, I guess I could stop the share. sit here and babble some more as I try to search for something else to look at. I want to at least get an hour done here. Damn it. Okay, yeah, this will work since I mentioned it anyway. There we go. So here we are, Radio Misfits. That's radiomisfits.com/podcast/the-mr-nailsin. That's Nailsin. Yes, it's just that simple. -show. There you go there. You just go to Radio Misfits, look under podcast comedy, and then, oh, look, it's the third one, the Mr. Nailsin Show, just above the Pressman Hour. And you head over there and look, oh boy, look at all my shows. Well, that's not all of them. You see all episodes and you'll see a bunch of them. Brought to you by Tweaked Audio. You want to head over there to get your best in earbuds and all that sort of stuff, and use that promo code Mr. Nailsin at checkout. Yeah, it'll show, Radio Misfits that you care about your pal, Mr. Nailsin. Anyway, so there's the latest episode, and you go there. You can play it right here. You can hit download, or you can go, oh, look at all these platforms. Oh, boy, Spotify, iTunes, or Apple Music. I think they changed it, just whatever. There's the RSS feed. Which one's this? Oh, yeah, Pandora. And Android, yeah. And then, of course, Amazon. You do that, and then it takes you over to Amazon. Slowly but surely, it tells you, hey, look, I'm Amazon Music. It's got its little Amazon smile. Slowly, but this is ridiculous. What the hell? This is embarrassing. I'm trying to show off. God damn it. How could you do this to me? What did I ever do to you except give you money for all kinds of stuff, some of which I actually needed. The rest, I just sort of wanted it, I guess. Anyway, there you go. Oh, look, it looks like it's all professional and stuff. It looks like it. So anyway, there we go. The Mr. Nailsin Show on Radio. Why is this? Oh, I guess I never finished listening to it. That's way back in July. The Backyard Med Spa. Yeah, that was a funny one. Anyway, there you go. All the episodes there. Oh, boy. It's all kinds of fun. And you can listen to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin, just babble on ad nauseum. And then present the audio plays as well. Night Night, Sun King, Bubba Star, going on and on, all that good stuff. And hopefully, provided I live long enough, will show up in some form or fashion of a comic book adaptation. Oh, yes. Oh, there I am. All right, there we go. Graham Wellington, I need that issue. 8 times to me too. Black Cat Power Girl cover needed. Yes. FKHC 2005. Hail. All right. Hi. It's Mr. Nailsin of PCB. Yes, it is. Although I'm not sure I'll make it tonight. Hopefully I can, but I got stuff to do. Anyway, and Don't Call Me Shirley. Yes. Okay. One of the great films of all time, if not, the Airplane. Yeah. Oh, boy. I don't care what anyone says. It never gets old. Sean Carter, greetings, Doug and chat. And he gives a round of applause. Well, isn't that nice? I would say so. Now, if the thing wouldn't mess up, I could go hit the sound effect for the applause. But, oh, God, it's such a chore. I guess hopefully everything is seamless on screen, but for me, everything is frozen up on there. And I got a dumb look on my... Well, I always have a dumb look on my face. I guess it's all right. Who would notice? It's hanging up. I just... it's... here we go. Here we go. There, see, it was well worth it. Maybe not. I don't know. It's not a lot else I can do. Oh, jeez. Holy crap, I got to babble on for 5 more minutes. Jeez. Well, all right. I guess it's supposed to be a secret. It's supposed to not to be seen just yet. But, you know, what are you going to do? I got to kill 5 minutes. So, did it come up? Yeah, it did. So here's a page that I'm working on from the newest Doodleverse comics. And I'm guessing I'll keep it like this. I probably could fit in another, or I'll come up with an image that'll fit there. Yeah, I think I can make that work. But, you know, it's somewhat similar to the previous one, but I'm going to have a lot of other, like galleries of doodles, the actual doodles I've done at work and stuff like that. But as you see here, this is the template page that puts it into position for when it'll be a flattened page, and to the specs that the printer at Kablam would prefer. And so there you go. I just use that to put it in position. Done intentionally as like a regular comic strip. So I just kept it that way, even though for the most part I haven't posted any of these. The other ones, I did post them on X, and certainly they're all going to show up at my locals, but for a good part of that will remain behind the paywall. Because otherwise, what's the point of putting it in a comic book? No one will buy it. They've seen it already, you know. So, or at least most of it. But anyway, here you go. There's Chad Zumach, who's questioning his existence and stuff. And, I don't know. I just feel bad. I don't know why I can't feel better. Maybe lay off the Tito's. Nah, it's like my soul hurts, and I don't know why. It's like I'm haunted or something. And then the phantom image of Melton shows up to tell him, "You're dumb, nerd. You're dumb." Then he's later contemplating things again and says, "Damn it. Why won't anything work? I've been riding Kevin's coattails for years. I've used Kumia's name even longer. Why aren't any of my shows good? Oh, wait, look, a mistake. Thank God I did this." You know, when you don't hit the shift button, the question mark doesn't show up. Instead, you get a slash. Well, thank God I caught it here, you know? Yeah. So once again, Melton shows up to say, "'Cause you're dumb, nerd. You're dumb." Of course, probably saying that to me now because look at that. Look at that. Yeah. God damn it. It'd be better to discover this in private. Well, so anyway, in the overall title of the strip, bad things are not good. So later on, he's walking through the street behind some dump. I don't know. I just don't get it. Why can't I get the better of Big Sauce? I mean, he's big and fat, and I'm not. Why won't any of my clapbacks work? And once again, Melton reminds him, "Because you're dumb, nerd. You're dumb." But he just doesn't hear it, you know. And then here he is, of course, constantly tormented because he obsesses. But not just Melton, there's others. But Melton, yeah, he will obsess over him quite a bit. And Melton's making him feel. See? It's got his feel logo on his hat. And he floats around his head. And he's just, no. Why? Why? So anyway, and of course the answer is because you're dumb, nerd. You're dumb. So anyway, it's possible that I could move it behind there. That would add more room. Do you really need the Doodleverse Comics logo? Probably not. And then there it fits kind of like that. And then that would add a little more room as well for whatever the hell I'll put here. I do have an image that probably would work pretty damn perfect if I go with this being page 1. And that's the deal. That's the deal for Doodleverse Comics number 2. Yeah. Yeah. That's the plan. I don't know if it'll work or not, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Come on. So anyway, a brief, albeit very brief, little tour of the future comic books, or one of them anyway, from me, your old pal, Mr. Nailsin. Let's see here. FKHC, Airplane or Blazing Saddles? Boy, that's yeah. Man, that's a good question. God, I mean, Blazing Saddles is sort of this metric of one can look at of what's allowable. It's always like, you couldn't make that today, which is always one of these standards by which he's like, good Lord, look how pathetic and fragile people have come over jokes. But just as two comedy vehicles, and there's some certain similarities, but I don't know. I mean, and coming out of National Lampoon and of course that both of that would apply, Mad Magazine and stuff like that. The irreverence for movies and whatnot. Man, yeah, that is a tough call. Because Airplane powerfully won me over instantly, and I can't say that Blazing Saddles didn't, but damn, I'm really stumped on that one. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a great choice of, putting one against the other, and I'm stumped. Sean Carter, Sean, geez, I'm sorry. Hi, Sean. Doug, are you going to watch Starfleet Academy? No. I just don't. I'm going to go ahead and finish out Familiar Old Worlds. But, I mean, yeah, I guess if Doomcock said, I want us to all be able to talk about it on the show, then oh, God, it's so bad. It's so bad. And I mean, just on the previews and stuff, the premise of it, no matter who did it, I mean, granted, it's Kurtzman and all that, but long ago, that would be rumored that they wanted to do a Starfleet Academy show or movie. I think originally it was supposed to be a movie, and it was going to be Kirk and Spock in their young days and all that sort of stuff. It's just a bad idea all around. And ultimately, you keep pursuing it, and what is it? It's what Secret Hideout's doing. 90210 in space, and throw in a couple of crap about what's her name being an old captain, and Giamatti's her ex-husband, I guess. I don't know. the arch enemy. It's just so bad and stupid, and it's what's the point? So you will be for review purposes, but I need advice on how to survive based on your Willow experience. Look, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, the bad things of Star Trek and just the trailers alone are god awful. It's just painful to sit there and watch that. I mean, the damage to Star Trek is long gone, done, so there's not a lot beyond that. But comparing it to Willow, I'm betting Willow's probably better than this crap. It's like each effort that Kurtzman made, since I guess Strange New Worlds wasn't really his, that was more Akiva Goldsman. So technically speaking, I guess it doesn't count. But each series he did, it's just like, you thought STD was bad, huh? Well, you just wait. And then he does, Section 31. Now you thought Section 31 was bad, huh? Well, and one of the major positives of Section 31, it was just a movie. And he wanted that thing to be a series. And you probably saw the entirety of what the series would be about. You see, when they shrink it down, rein that in, and just do 2 hours, it's much easier to get through. Still a piece of crap. A lot of stupid in it. But it was just like, oh, well, there, it's gone. It's over now. The whole series, I don't even care if it's only 8 episodes. It's just, it's grueling. So, I don't know. I mean, I think I've reached my limit for this stuff. And, looking forward to what the new owners and everything will do. They're going to do this movie. I'd prefer a show, but, and it's another prequel. That's I don't care. I mean, someone in good hands could do it, but good Lord, did Secret Hideout ruin the concept, the ideas of a prequel. Really a prequel to anything. At one time, I was like, yeah, there's possibility, especially like a Captain Pike show or something. And they can't even do that. So it's like, no, don't. Sean Carter, Airplane for me by far. Yeah, well, I probably have watched Airplane more than Blazing Saddles. So, FKHD, I stumped you nice. Yes, you did. FK talking to Sean Carter. The only way I would watch that is if I am on a watch party and can riff it. Yeah, that's probably the only way to do any of this. You got to do your own Mystery Science Theater approach to this crap. Thompson says, is Doug still alive? I think I'm still alive. Hang on a minute. Yeah, there's a pulse. Yeah. All right, we're good. Sean Garner says to FKH, see, it would be hard not to swear. Oh, yes. Okay, yep, that was going to be the original, skipping on me, plot for Star Trek. Yeah, they were, hey, the cast's getting old. Let's reboot or do a prequel with younger and all that. Star Trek is dead, Jim. Yes, afraid so. Once Kurtzman's contract is done, have Star Trek be off for 5 years. They're not going to wait that long. Give it time for all Kurtzman crap to be cleared from people's minds and go from there. And gives Paramount one, I guess. Yeah, they're not going to wait that long. They're already prepping up for the movie. So they'll do that. There might be a bit of a wait for a TV series. Possibly. But really the only thing that the new regime has announced is interest in a feature film. I think they want a trilogy, of course. Usually you go with that. But that might go, have a spinoff of TV shows of it. Not sure how. I don't know if you want to chasing the Marvel Universe type thing. I don't know. But something of that nature, which is pretty much what they already did. Because Secret Hideout, you owe that to the creation from Bad Robot. So it's kind of the same thing, even though technically speaking, the STD and the J.J. Abrams films were not connected. But I don't know. Eventually when they did Picard, which they theoretically they never really connected that to it either, to STD. So, but they did mention the Romulus planet blowing up, stuff like that. So, but I mean, you could do a film series that you don't have to watch the film series to understand the show, but they have reference of, events that happened or what have you. And they could be apart from each other from different points of time. Total pain in the ass. Alfred's family's still a mystery. I don't know. It depends on which era you're reading. FKHC, second chance to get some stories and plots written out. Well, yeah. Hey, Tom says, you're looking better, Doug. I did a reset on OBS, and I'm not going to mess with it anymore. So the camera looks more normal instead of that weird shit. I mean, I'm not using any backgrounds and stuff. Let me put one in here. Is it that one? And yeah, that's all right. You know? So, yeah, it seems to work okay. So I guess I'll just leave it alone. I mean, I got light coming in from the window, but eventually I would have, turn the light on and stuff like that. And it'll show up more when it's darker around these here parts. So anyway, it's not sweet tea. It's zero sugar tea. I cannot have sweet tea. I'm diabetic. I know, it's an elite class. You wouldn't understand. So anyway, there we go. That's Wednesday Comics. An oldie but goodie and Strange Apparitions, plus some of the follow-up issues that, followed up on, hey, where are they now type stories. Anyway, and then, of course, oh, boy, you got Spider-Man and Superman to look forward to. Oh, boy, it's exciting, isn't it? Well, you'll have to wait till March. I know, it's terrible. But it'll be here before you know it. Yeah. So anyway, everybody have a good rest of your day. Hopefully, I will show up on Pop Culture Breakdown. I'm not entirely certain. It's always a pain, but it's one of those busy weeks, compounded by the fact that I had to work an extra night and stuff like that at work. And so, boy, I don't even know what I'm going to do for the podcast. I'll have to figure something out. It's going to be my 600th episode. I should have something special. Right now, I ain't got nothing. That's embarrassing. It is. But you know what my life has been mostly? An embarrassment. So after a while, it's just like, yeah, well, shit happens. Yeah. So anyway, we'll meet again soon in some form or fashion. Usually something like this. And I'll talk to you then. But thanks for showing up and watching me babble on about all this stuff. I'll check Super Tips one more time. No. Okay. And yeah, we'll meet again, and probably a Nailsin news, if not tonight. It's got to be tonight, sometime late in the wee hours going into morning. If not then, when? Then perhaps Thursday night, something like that. Or Thursday morning, I guess, would be the deal. But anyway, yeah, well, we'll meet again soon. Have a good rest of your day.